Again, a very warm welcome on this Tuesday morning. I'm Kevin Burns, Mayor of Geneva, Illinois, and Chairman of the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus Environment Committee and Energy Subcommittee. And today we're coming to you through the magic of Zoom, as we often do. We have about 45 or 50 folks joining us, and we're discussing a very cool topic that many might think instinctively is not related to climate change or climate action. But the reality is, in our climate report, we talk about reducing vehicle miles traveled. And accordingly, one great way to do that, obviously, is to get out there, walk more, to bike more, just to use our good old feet instead of our fuel engines, if you will. So we're going to have a great discussion, and we have got some wonderful guests joining us. The program we're talking about today is entitled Move with the Mayor. And before anyone starts giggling, wait till you hear some of the folks we have with us who have done extraordinary work on getting their community and, of course, themselves more active, more involved, and, of course, inspiring others to join this important effort. We have, first, we're going to talk about the Move with the Mayor program. We are lucky to have two very distinguished guests with us, Jen Childress and Michelle Snyder, who are from the National Forum for Heart Disease and Stroke Prevention. Jen is the Director of Programs for the National Forum for Heart Disease and Stroke Prevention, and she manages the forum's Move with the Mayor program. A little fun fact about Jen: she holds certificates in personal fitness training, coaching, and health education. Jen's colleague, Michelle Snyder, is also with the organization, and she provides program support. Michelle has traveled internationally, promoting health and wellness in Haiti, Honduras, Tanzania, and Malawi. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our discussion this morning our friends and our allies in good health and moving with the mayor, Jen and Michelle.
Thank you so much, Mayor Burns, and we are delighted to be joining this esteemed group today. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit more about the Move with the Mayor initiative. So Move with the Mayor is a platform that mayors across the country use to help their residents protect and improve their health and make their communities more active and accessible. Mayors use Move with the Mayor to have messaging, policy recommendations, and other tools to empower and protect their community members from cardiovascular health risk factors and help to improve health equity. We have a real quick video to share with you so that you can only hear it from us, but from other mayors as well, in terms of why they think heart health is important to their communities.
Hello everyone, this is Mayor Don Walters from the city of Cuyahoga Falls, and I care about your health, your heart health. It's very important. Our health is one of those things that we take for granted. We don't realize how important it is until it's gone. So please take care of yourself, be active, move with the mayor, look at some of the other videos that we've done, and try and be active as much as you can and keep your heart healthy.
Hi, this is Mayor Christina Murn, Mayor of the city of Findlay, Ohio. I care about my heart because it keeps my blood flowing.
I care about my community's heart because I want everyone to live a full and abundant life.
Hi, it's Oakland's Mayor Livy Schaff. I'm out for a walk in honor of Move with the Mayor. But this year, because of the global pandemic, I'm out taking a walk in my neighborhood park. I'm also enjoying our Slow Streets program here in Oakland. I hope that you get out and move. It is more important than ever this year, particularly those of us who have to shelter in place, that you get out and move.
I care about Elyria residents' hearts because I want every one of them to live out their full potential.
I care about my residents' hearts, and I'm ready because I think everyone deserves to live a long, healthy, and prosperous life.
Hello everyone, Mayor Wallace at Bartlett here. I truly believe that a healthy lifestyle, healthy heart leads to happy communities and provides an opportunity to spend more quality time with family.
I care about my residents' hearts. That's why I'm asking each and every Augustan to move with the mayor so that we can each live long, prosperous, and healthy lives.
I care about Rochester residents' heart health because if they're going to live longer, I want them to be happy and healthy while doing it.
I care about the hearts of my residents because healthy hearts create and grow a prosperous community.
Hi everybody, Mayor Ruben Pineda. I'm here to tell you why I care about my residents' hearts. It's very important that we continue to move forward with a healthy community. So everybody please continue to take care of your heart and take care of your health.
Heart disease runs in many of our families. Getting and staying active is one of the most powerful things that we can do to take control of our health.
Becoming or staying active is a good way to protect yourself from COVID-19, as well as stroke, heart disease, kidney disease, and diabetes. Remember, it is better to not have had a stroke or heart attack than to recover from one.
The hope is to spark viewer interest in cycling, which already appears to be high, according to Talmadge Mayor David Klein.
A lot of people are using the trail systems right now.
And weave my way up to the Freedom Trail in Kent, and hopefully end up somewhere in downtown Akron by Union Street and sweep on home.
Across the nation, the mayors are being asked to get their communities involved in keeping active during this pandemic time. And we're asking all the folks to move with the mayor, and we are going to do our silly walk.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth.
Try and be active, walk, bike, hike, anything that you can do, get out and move with the mayor.
So as you can see, each of the cities does something unique and fun with Move with the Mayor. We are going into our 7th year, and we are pleased to have so much participation throughout the years from Metropolitan Mayor Caucus members. And in the 2022 challenge so far, MMC members represent 10% of the participating cities overall throughout the United States, and Illinois participants represent 13%. So we'd love to have more of the Illinois mayors and cities represented, and we'll share more with you today about the program. So the Move with the Mayor Challenge consists of 2 components. We have a fall challenge coming up September 1st through October 15th, where Move with the Mayor participants host at least one physical activity event, and that can be virtual or in person, and can be anything that you would like it to be in terms of community focus, whether you are hosting an event at City Hall for city employees, or expanding it to elementary school children or the community at large. It can be anything that you already have lined up through your Parks and Rec program, or something that you create on your own. The second piece of the challenge is to complete a Step It Up roadmap between September 1st and October 30th. And that's a self-assessment to help identify strengths and opportunities as it relates to programming and policies. Participation in Move with the Mayor is free of charge. We're supported by grants from CDC. And the National Forum provides technical assistance at no cost, including a toolkit featuring talking points and buzzwords. We provide you with messaging around cardiovascular risk awareness and how people in your community can move to get healthy. We also provide cities with easy to use sample social media posts and images, as well as press releases and advisories that are ready to go, and logos, flyers, and posters to help to promote your events. As part of Move with the Mayor, we partner with the CDC's Active People, Healthy Nation Champions Initiative. So not only are you partnering with the National Forum, you're partnering even larger with the CDC to help 27 million Americans become more physically active. And as a champion, you receive additional benefits, including recognition, as well as access to information and resources, including funding opportunities, and a connection to a network of other cities who are leading the charge. The most frequently asked questions that we receive regarding Move with the Mayor is, do I need to host an event every week? The answer is no. You just have to host a minimum of one event between September 1st and October 30th. Even though the challenge runs through the fall timeframe, we do provide support year-round. So if you're hosting an event in January or February, we're here to support you. And then we also provide assistance year-round, including technical assistance such as the graphic design to promote your events. We have a policy menu with examples and resources of what's effective throughout the nation within other cities, and talking points that you can use if you are talking on stage about the importance of health and well-being. The roadmap, which is a piece of the challenge, is a 30-page document, but don't let that intimidate you. The responses help to indicate your strengths and opportunities for improvement as it relates to programming and policies around walking, walkability, nutrition, physical activity, and general heart health. And the roadmaps are used by cities to strategically plan and identify areas and policies to help improve components within the neighborhoods. So we've heard from participants in the past that this is easy to use and a great resource in terms of planning and identifying where to go next. So those are the core elements of the roadmap, as well as the challenge overall. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Michelle, to talk a little bit about what the programming within each of the cities look like.
Thank you, Jen. So we really, the Move with the Mayor program is really intended to complement activities, physical activities that you're already doing. So we take a look at what cities are doing and try to amplify your voice by increasing the opportunity for you to work with Move with the Mayor program. And so DuPage County mayors have stepped up incredibly when it comes to working with Move with the Mayor. And we're really excited that they've continued. We'll be seeing them again in this fall challenge, but just wanted to highlight some of the things that are being done by DuPage County mayors, and then roll right into what some mayors all over the country are doing for their physical activities. So you'll see on this slide some of the DuPage County mayors participating in some of the activities, including sunset yoga, different walking activities. We'll go into what each of the mayors have done respectively in their cities, but they really truly have stepped up in working with the Move with the Mayor program. One of the highlights and communication tools that we do provide is examples for social media posts, which the cities that we work with really like having the opportunity to have that messaging provided for them. And so you'll see on this screen some examples of the messaging that we provided to some of the mayors that they've been able to use on their social media sites as an avenue and a tool for their communications department, or things that they can post on their website as well. So as part of that communications toolkit and the items that are provided to mayors that we work with, the social media component seems to be something that's incredibly helpful to the mayors that we work with. And as I mentioned, in addition to some of the things you've seen, some really popular physical activities. If you look in the middle, Mayor Norton does a walking meeting. We've also had mayors do things like employee health fairs, and lots of activities that we encourage creativity on. So there's no limit to what our mayors are able to do for that physical activity. And again, we really want to complement what you're already doing and just be able to amplify your voice through the toolkit and through social media and some other avenues that we can assist with as well. So it can look like a lot of different things, including walks around your city, local parks and rec walks. We could, looks a little bit different for everybody, but Mayor Norton does a grocery store audit. And so just lots of fun activities that mayors are doing all over the country.
Great, thanks, Michelle. And one other element that we have with Move with the Mayor is a partnership with Spark America. It's not a requirement, but it's something that's an add-on feature that we've provided to cities going into our third year now. Spark America provides all Move with the Mayor participants with a free activity tracking platform. And you can see on the right-hand side there, what is a leaderboard? So during the Fall Fit City Challenge timeframe, join, you're able to see where your city compares to others in terms of physical activity minutes. So Move with the Mayor is about promoting physical activity for all abilities, ages, levels, and definitions of physical activity. So this element adds a little bit of fun, friendly competition and has technology that is powered both on laptops as well as on people's smartphones. Makes it easily accessible and pairs with smartwatches, Fitbits, or people who would rather or don't have access to smartwatches or Fitbits are able to manually log their minutes onto the platform. We also provide additional communications resources, including images, press releases. There are incentives, including free shoe giveaways, and it makes it really fun, as you see throughout those posts, that people are encouraging moving and getting active.
Jen, just to touch base on that leadership board, one thing to add, this past Fit City Challenge, 4 of the top 15 cities across the country were Move with the Mayor participants.
Yeah, that is super exciting. This is nationwide, so it is awesome to see Move with the Mayor cities step up. And so the deadline for signing up in order for cities to have the platform and the web page that's dedicated to your city is July 31st. And that is getting everything in place for the challenge to launch on September 1st. And then we'll provide you with the onboarding toolkit. In addition to physical activity, the Move with the Mayor initiative also encompasses messaging related to cardiovascular risk factors and reducing them, and engaging mayors in PSAs regarding flu and its relationship to heart attacks and reducing risk factors for that, as well as an adult vaccination initiative. So messaging on COVID-19 as well as routine adult immunizations that people may have missed throughout the pandemic. So we've just scratched the surface on this, and I know you'll be hearing more from Mayors Pineda and Kokar, but for more information and to get signed up, again, the deadline is July 31st. You can reach out to Michelle and we'll send her contact info in the chat as well as the slides that will be going out to everybody else. So we'll go ahead and pause here for any questions.
Any questions or comments in the chat, Edith or Cheryl, that we want to monitor? I saw a couple pop up.
It looks like we just had one question about that the materials will be posted on the Environment Committee webpage, and I've placed that website in the chat.
Any questions from anyone now who just want to raise your hand feature and ask Jen or Michelle anything? Thank you both very, very much.
Thank you.
My suspicion is there'll be questions as we go on as well. So let's all keep peeled. I know Edith and Cheryl are going to do a great job managing the chat function. So now we have the pleasure of hearing from our mayors directly. And it's my honor to introduce you to my friend, my neighbor. We share a border between DuPage County and Kane County. The Honorable Mayor of West Chicago, Illinois, Ruben Pineda. He's been the mayor since 2012. And Ruben, you and I have known each other for far longer than that.
Yeah, a lot longer than that.
A lot longer than that. So we are delighted. I am personally delighted to have Ruben joining us. And Ruben, the floor is yours. And then we're going to transition to our new good friend, Mayor Kokar.
Okay. Well, thank you for allowing me to be here today. It's pretty exciting because West Chicago has been a part of this since the beginning. 7 years ago, there was only 5 cities in the entire country that were participating at the time, and we were little tiny West Chicago was one of them that was able to participate. So excited about, we were excited about doing it. When the National Forum came and asked us to be a part of this, we jumped in, with both feet. And, actually, the first year, we were doing it by steps. and we whipped everybody. We beat all the other 4 cities. I think we had 3.5 million steps as a tiny community, and we got our community really working at trying to be a healthier community. At the time, our obesity rate at the elementary level was about 48%. So we had to do something. I felt we needed to do something about it. And the mayor of Oklahoma City was actually the one. I heard him speak here in Naperville, and they went from one of the most obese communities or cities in the country to one of the healthiest communities. He actually passed a referendum for like $32 million to make it a healthier community. We did not do that. We just got everybody involved. So it's been exciting for us, and we've been a part of this and really enjoying it to the point that when we first started out, it was actually
I think we may have lost Mayor's audio.
every Saturday and Sunday, we were able to walk a 5K. And then we changed that when we got the kids involved, because a 5K for a young child is pretty rough. So we went to 30 minutes on Saturdays and then a 5K on Sunday. We started Healthy West Chicago, and Carly Smitherman is our program director or program coordinator, and she's been doing a fantastic job, to the point that our community is so involved in this and they love this so much. Every year we do a wellness walk. So I walk with all 6 elementary schools, the middle school, and the 3 preschools. And I enjoy doing that because it gives me an opportunity to be with the kids, and it gets them an opportunity to get outside and walk and move and have some activity. So that's been great for us. So I visit all 9 schools or 10 schools in one day, and I walk with every one of those schools. We also have 2 chefs that are very, very popular. We used to do it in a church here, actually across the street from my home, and the kitchen could hold maybe 8 to 10 students. And we'd have a chef come in and they would teach these kids how to cook healthy. And now I can say that's probably one of the only good things that came out of the pandemic, that we started Zoom meetings, and these chefs, Chef Aaron and Chef Maria, are on a Zoom meeting with our kids now, and the kids can work from the convenience of their own kitchen and use their own utensils and everything else. And it's very popular that there's actually a waiting list to get into these cooking classes. It's very important because these kids, and me being an ex-chef, they get to learn how to work and cook in their own kitchens. And it's been very, very, very successful. We have yoga on the lawn at our library. And that's been a very successful event for us too. We get quite a few people out there that actually do yoga on the lawn, and it's getting bigger, every time that they meet. So when we first started Move with the Mayor, like I said, we did beat every other city, the other 4 cities. So I was invited by the National Forum to DC to speak, and I was invited on a Thursday. I showed up on Tuesday, and I really just brought a PowerPoint of me walking with the kids, and I opened the agenda when I got to the meeting, and it said Ruben Pineda, Mayor Ruben Pineda, keynote speaker. Debbie Martinez forgot to mention one little thing, so it worked out well. I had about 150 doctors and health people in the room, and after the meeting, they wanted to come to West Chicago, and I told them that I like to have walking meetings because I like not only, I don't like being indoors for a lot of meetings, especially in the summer and spring, but they get to see my community too. So we did have quite a few visitors. They did come out, and I was able to show them my community. So that was a big moment for me, because here I was invited to something that we were just starting.
We've lost your audio again, Mayor.
This is our new feature called Silence with the Mayor. This is our
for the community. And I actually sent a letter out to our other taxing bodies and asked them, the county, our school boards, our high school, our library, the fire district, all the other taxing bodies, and asked them if they would be willing to donate $5,000 a year for the next 3 years. And the majority of them said, okay. So it makes Healthy West Chicago sustainable. We're able to keep the programs going at least for the next 3 years and hopefully more. And Carly does a great job of getting sponsors and everything. We have a 5K walk coming up Saturday, August 20th. And that's been very popular since we started it. And we give away raffle prizes and all kinds of things. And we're able to walk in our the prairie path to do that 5K. So that's also very successful. So I'm very proud to be mayor of a community that has started these programs and that they're continuing. And they, as far as I'm concerned, I hope they will continue. I know they will continue. And we've seen a difference in our residents and especially in our kids, because every year at the end of the month in September, and we do an event every weekend, but like they said, you don't have to, but we do a 30-minute walk starting in the first weekend of September and then ending it with a heart health day. So we have a big event and we give out prizes and the kids can come, and you see, it's hard to get catering from the businesses in town, where it's not pizza and tacos and things like that. But we also have salads and fruit and everything. And you see the parents stack up the pizza and the tacos and everything. And the kids are actually just grabbing the salad and the fruit and things like that. So we are seeing a difference that, you get them young and you teach them, not to eat a bag of potato chips, when in front of the TV, and you teach them how to eat healthier foods. That's what's going to be their staple when they get older, their comfort food when they get older. So it's exciting to see that. And me with the kids, it's the only chance I get to be a rock star. So when I go to those schools and visit those schools, they really appreciate the fact that I'm spending time with them. So proud to be the mayor of Healthy West Chicago, and we'll continue to be Healthy West Chicago. And I told the mayor before the meeting started that you look at those pictures, I've lost 30 pounds since then. So,
Mayor Padena, I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to celebrate your accomplishments and your success as well. So please boast about that.
It's working for me and it's working for our community. So thank you very much for the time here. And I hope a lot more mayors come out and do this. It is well worth every minute and every step that you take. And it does help your community think healthy. So thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our call this morning a newer mayor, and we're delighted to have Mayor Kokar from the beautiful village of Glendale Heights joining us. Mayor Kokar was elected to office just last year. So fresh off the exciting world of campaigning into the exciting world of governing, we welcome our new friend and partner, Mayor Kokar.
Thank you for providing me this opportunity, and good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
This is Mayor Chaudhary Kokar from Glendale Heights. As I have been mentioned, I'm like 1 year old mayor. It's pretty new, So before I became mayor, I used to walk, about 4 to 5 miles every day, I have camera park in front of my house, and on my backside is also golf ground, So I have opportunity on both sides, So I used to walk. And now after I became mayor, we adopted this, move with the mayor. So my director, Keith Kennard, and supervisor Chris, they walked with me and we walk with our resident, It's a very good program. It's good for body, mind, and soul. It keeps your heart healthy and in working conditions. Keep your mind fresh, brain fresh. So you can think fresh, So when you walk, your blood circulates throughout your body, mind, brain, and all organs of your body, So it keeps you keeps every organ of the body healthy and fresh, so in circulation. So it's good for kids, good for young men, and good for senior citizens, and it's good for everybody. And other thing is, it keeps you away from worries and those all everyday, those activity where your mind goes, is blown up almost, in, meetings, other stuff, so it gives you a little relief, so you can walk, in the air, get fresh oxygen, inhale, exhale oxygen from your plums and, lungs. So it's very good activity. And what I have found in my life that, walking is a good exercise. It gives you also provide opportunity to talk with your resident while you are walking, you laugh, you smile, you talk, chat with each other, giggling, all that stuff, And other thing, you go into the park and you also look at the park if there is any issue, with the park, those are dirty or not, they need to be, grass needs to be cut, all that things, what you do as a mayor, you also do as a, in the activity move with the mayor, So it's naturally is a good, healthy, wealthy activity. And people like that, And we in our Glendale Heights people, they like that. And obviously this national forum provided this opportunity. So that's thanks to National Forum. And other thing is we also have, this yoga classes, with our leisure services department. And those all people from all ages, they come and do yoga and they do exercise, they feel good, and then they say they appreciate, the activity or exercise provided by the village. So we, as a mayor, I'm very interested in the health and well-being of my resident, So we have all those, gym activities in our senior citizens center and in our hub, sports hub. So we provide the best way of style of living, healthy living, and move with the mayor is at the top right now, So we walk, through parks, different park of the village with the different people, in different park, different people, meet with those people, talk with those people. And other thing is, this move or walk is good for, reducing your blood pressure, reducing your cholesterol, diabetic, is good for that digestive system. It fixes, also digestive system. So all those systems, of the body, they are, regulated through move with the mayor or walking, with the mayor and doing exercises, So I think we should also promote, this walk, move with the mayor to, with the more people, reach to the more residents. And also, I believe that, we should also have, mayors, working together, like, different mayors from different towns, different cities. So we should have one day, so we can walk, all mayor together, mayors and managers. So that will help also, our vision in, move with the mayor. So I like this program, is a good, healthy, and people is good for, if people, someone is walking regularly, I believe he or she can cut, her 50% diseases, just by walking, So if you walk, it keeps you healthy, wealthy, and mentally fresh. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor Kokar. Appreciate it. I like that idea of a bunch of mayors getting together and walking. And it's almost like, I guess, St. Patrick leading the snakes out of Ireland, for God's sake.
Yeah, it will help,
Yeah, Yeah, it'd be really, we could all walk to West Chicago and have a nice lunch.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, courtesy of course, of West Chicago. So
Absolutely.
I love it.
It should be like, one walk in one village, then second with the other. So we can rotate,
Absolutely. Count me in.
Right.
Count me in.
Sure.
Folks, we're going to discuss some more wonky stuff, if you will. It's about leading with policy. And we have some extraordinary guests who many of us know very well, and we rely on considerably to help guide us at the local level. In terms of creating an active community culture, we need to have safe streets and trails that are accessible and inviting to all. And we need to guide development to connect our community resources to allow active transportation that is not car dependent. So with us this morning, our good friends Audrey Winnick, the Director of Transportation at the Metropolitan Planning Council, and Maggie Zerwinski, Director of Community Building and Leadership, Active Transportation Alliance. So Audrey, Maggie, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mayor Burns. Before we actually start our presentation, I wonder if I could ask a question of Mayor Pineda.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are going to talk about infrastructure. I think he said he had to leave a little bit early. So before he goes, I'm wondering if your experiences with Move with the Mayor have resulted in any changes to your infrastructure investment policies, such as building out more sidewalks or improving the safety of walking in your community.
Well, our comprehensive plan and everything that we have planned for our downtown redevelopment is going to be based on better walking paths, signage, everything like that. We have a bike path that comes right through our town, so that's already a plus. But yes, our walking paths, I've got a call in with the street superintendent from Wayne. We're going to be hopefully putting a bike path up in the Forest Preserve on the north end of town. So yeah, when we start planning our new development, we always start talking about what kind of walking paths and bike paths and everything else that we can have. So yeah, that's part of our plan.
Great, thanks so much. That's a great lead into what we wanted to talk about today. So I'm going to share my screen and just go through a little information about a project that the Metropolitan Planning Council has been doing with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and the Active Transportation Alliance. We've had a great partnership this year that we want to share about what we're doing and some information that is available to leaders in communities as a result of this partnership. So this work has centered around, as Mayor Burns had mentioned, the importance of making it possible to walk and bike more and reduce driving and reduce vehicle miles traveled, that is a very big priority in the regional climate action plan. And so we said to ourselves, how can we help people actually do this? How can we help them increase the amount of places that people can walk and bike safely, or help people live near transit so they can drive less and have more of a car light lifestyle. So what we have done is our goals are to provide information to community leaders on how to accelerate investment in biking and walking infrastructure. We know now is a really special time, given that we have the federal infrastructure bill. There also was a recently passed bill at the state level, Rebuild Illinois, that is pumping more money into communities in terms of infrastructure. And we also know we're in a climate crisis, and we really know that in the summer when we have high amounts of extreme heat. So this reinforces the need to give people, to not only encourage them with Move with the Mayor, but give people safe and appealing places to walk, and they will walk more. So I'm just going to go over, a few more aspects of what we've been trying to communicate. We have been highlighting not only the climate benefits of biking and walking, but also the safety benefits, because the less you drive, the more likely you are not to be in a car crash. And there's a real traffic safety crisis in our country. Affordability, I think we all know gas prices are sky high and the price of cars is sky high. So giving people ways to get around that they can afford, paying much more attention to disability and accessibility. So making sure that sidewalks are ADA accessible, et cetera. And then economic competitiveness. We're seeing that communities that are more walkable are more desirable for people at all stages of life. So we've been providing forums for peer sharing and trying to inspire communities with information about what's happening in other neighborhoods and other communities. We're also conducting research that we're going to be making available to you, and we'll share a little bit of preview of some of that research today. We've been researching every community in the entire region, all 284 communities, determining if they have active transportation plans or bicycle pedestrian plans, and if so, cataloging them. And we have a centralized database we're creating that's going to have links to every single plan in the region. We're looking at every community's comprehensive plan and the extent to which that addresses active transportation. We're looking at the extent to which communities have been successful in accessing some of the federal funding that comes through our regional metropolitan planning organization, like surface transportation planning funding, transportation alternatives program, et cetera. We've been looking at how much people are walking in different communities. We have some new data sets that can tell us what percentage of trips you make are by walking, biking, or driving. So we are going to show you a new slide on that today. And we've been talking to councils of governors, councils of mayors, sharing this information and getting input from them on what some of their issues are and barriers so that we can help them overcome them. We've held an event series in 2022 that hopefully some of you have attended. And if you haven't, the recordings are on our website. I'm going to drop into the chat a link to the page where you can see information about, there's still 2 more events upcoming. And then the first 3 events about, what does it mean to develop an active transportation plan? That's recorded. How do you advance equitable transit-oriented development? And how do you access all these transportation dollars that you could use to build better bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure? I also want to make sure that people know that the Active Transportation Alliance, and Maggie's going to come and talk in just a moment, is doing a 3-part series on how to access the state funding, ITEP funding, Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program funding, starting tomorrow. So that's not on this slide, but do look at the recordings for the first 3 events. And also we have a walking tour, an in-person walking tour on August 12th in Brookfield. And we are going to also focus on ADA transition plans. So making communities ADA accessible in October, November. That's still being scheduled. So now I'm going to turn it over to Maggie, who's going to talk a little bit more about how leaders can take action in their communities.
Great, thanks, Audrey. We have a handful of different ideas that we just wanted to share with you on things you can do that can really make a difference. And over time, you'll see more walking and biking infrastructure in your community and give more opportunities for people to get around and be active. But a couple things that we're tracking, as Audrey noticed, or as Audrey mentioned, is one, you can adopt a complete streets policy, and that's kind of a commitment of your community to say, when we build a new road, when a road is reconstructed, we're going to make sure it's for everyone. So it's not only for cars, it's for people walking and biking as well. So everyone is safe. It feels safe getting around. And then number 2 is the importance of developing a bicycle and pedestrian plan. So having a plan maps out where are your sidewalk gaps? Where do you need to improve infrastructure, intersections to improve safety? Where is your bicycle network, so that you have a network? So it's not just, a small bike path here, some sidewalks in, this side of town, but you have a network for everyone. And with bicycle and pedestrian plans, it's important to not only develop one, and then that brings you a lot of access to funding to bring into your community, but to also make sure it's updated. And also having a plan is a great way to engage the community and get their input on what's needed. So next slide. We wanted to, so also as Audrey mentioned, we've been collecting a lot of data on what is going on around the Chicagoland region. So here's a look at complete streets policies around Chicagoland, and you can see in green, those are the complete streets policies that we're aware of. So we've got a lot, which is great. There are 76 at least in the Chicagoland region. And if you don't have a policy, we have a lot of resources that can help you put one together. So happy to share all of those resources. It's a pretty simple lift and can make a big difference in design decisions in the future. So next slide. And this map shows active transportation plans, or those bicycle and pedestrian plans that we're aware of in the region. And we've got at least 89 plans in our region out of 284 communities. So I think there's still more work to be done to encourage more communities to adopt a plan and put a plan together. But in addition, even if you have a plan, we recommend that that's updated every 10 years because new designs, types of bike paths, improvements to intersections become approved at a federal level. So there are new tools. And then also community needs change. So revisiting that plan every 10 years is highly recommended. Next slide. And then also having a bicycle advisory committee or a pedestrian advisory committee or a complete streets committee can really help a community move that plan forward. So you might have a plan, but what can happen is it can sit on the shelf and people forget about it. But that committee can really hold the community accountable and move it forward and make sure that you're applying for funding and you're aware of those funding opportunities and you're prioritizing what should be built next. So we've got at least 16 in our region. And then here, there's a new tool out there called Replica that looks, it's a database of behavior travel data. And previously we've always looked at how do people get to work? Do they walk? Do they bike? Do they drive? But now we're able, through Replica, it uses cell phone data and we're able to look at all trips. So this is a look at walking around our region. So the mode share of walking compared to other modes. And we've divided it into high, medium, and low categories. So like over 13% of people are walking in the green communities highlighted, which is around Chicago and a lot of the border communities. And yellow is more medium walking trips between 8% and 13%. And then red is lower. So we'd love to see more yellow and green on this map. But this is looking at all trips. So looking at trips to shops, looking at trips to work, to school, to all sorts of different destinations. So next slide. And then this same map looks at biking. And apologies to my dog, but this you can see it's similar, and we've got around the Chicago city, more communities with higher biking rates, and then a little further out, more medium, and then further out, lower rates. But again, we're looking to see these numbers increasing, and we'll be tracking these over time. Next slide. So other ways you can lead if you do have a complete streets policy, there are often action steps in that policy that you can look to see like, what can you be doing right now? What steps can you take? 2 is looking at, do you have a bicycle pedestrian plan? Is there anything that can be advanced now? Or are there other plans like your comprehensive plan, a downtown plan, a park plan that can be used to help advance and improve walking and biking? And also bring in funding, because often when you apply for different funding programs, it can be a requirement to have a plan. It can give you more points. You'll score higher if you do have a plan. And then having some transportation dollars set aside in your budget, in your capital improvement program for walking, biking, trails, for transit supportive development. I know the city of Batavia, they set aside $100,000 every year for filling in sidewalk gaps. And the village of Skokie, they also have a set aside just for complete streets for every year. And having that allocation of money can really help over time advance and improve your infrastructure environment. And it can also help you meet local match requirements for grants. And then again, having a bicycle pedestrian commission or committee can really help you advance your plan and help you find that funding. And then cultivating more community leadership which we've seen can be done through Move with the Mayors, can be a great way to move these ideas forward and build more community support. Another idea is looking at your zoning code. We have a handful of recommendations on when a new development, say, is built, there should be bike racks or there should be sidewalks in front of the building. So looking at your code to see what can be tweaked for easy wins, for improvements to your infrastructure. And there are many other things just to look through, but identifying barriers, and we're here to help you brainstorm how to overcome them. And we've got a lot of other community partners that we can share what they've done with you. And then road widening projects, that's something we're looking into right now. When we widen roads, we're allowing greenhouse gas emissions to be more of a problem in the future, and there's also safety implications and the cost of maintaining those roads in the future. So we're looking at this as a advocacy effort going forward. And next slide. A few other things. So as Audrey was going over, we've got the Regional Climate Action Plan event series. So we'd love to have you attend our Brookfield walking tour coming up on August 12th to see what's going on in Brookfield and learn from lessons learned there and some of their projects. We have at the Active Transportation Alliance, we have the Chicagoland Complete Streets Coalition. We used to have a lot of in-person meetings, but now we have a listserv, and we try to make sure to send out opportunities, and especially funding opportunities when they become available, and to that listserv. So happy to add you to that. There are lots of programs, events that are out there that you can tap into. So one being with the mayor, it would be great, as Edith mentioned in the chat, it would be great to see more Illinois communities participating so we can beat Ohio. And there's also Bike Month that happens every May. You can encourage your residents to bike, and there's also a challenge involved in that. And then being aware of upcoming funding opportunities is really important. And the Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program, ITEP, is coming out, will be opening August 1st. And that is our biggest source of walking and biking and trail funding in our state. And it comes around every 2 years. So there's $125 million available in funding throughout our state. It's a huge opportunity. And we've got a webinar, three-part webinar series that starts tomorrow, so like July 20th. And if you can't make it to that, recordings will be available, but we highly encourage you to apply to that, because it's a great opportunity for our state. And of course, stay in touch with us. We do have a lot of resources, so feel free to reach out anytime if you have questions. But that's all for our content, but we actually have a few questions. Do we have time for a little bit of discussion? Yeah, so we.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, great. So we were curious just to hear from all of you and what's going on in your communities. How are you or other leaders in your community advancing complete streets and advancing walking and biking or transit-oriented development? Curious to hear just what's going on. And feel free to type it in the chat or.
Yeah, the floor is open. If you want to
Yes,
raise your hand or just chime in, it's up to myself and Edith and Cheryl will help monitor. And so don't be shy. Let me just throw something out there and maybe begin the discussion. The whole idea regarding complete streets, it sounds so quaint and lovely, but it becomes a little bit more complicated when you discuss it from a policy perspective. And I'm wondering, have you experienced this as well, Maggie or Audrey or others, where instead of using all this lingo, let's just call it what it is? And I think you touched on this earlier, streets for everyone.
Yeah. For sure, that can be, it can be, yeah, there can be a lot of jargon in this world.
Yeah.
So yeah, streets for everyone, that's a great straightforward name to use. So you don't have to use the word complete streets. There's a national group called the National Complete Street
Exactly,
that we get a lot of resources from. So that's kind of where the name took off, but
sure.
I've seen other communities call these policies different names.
I want to acknowledge Naperville's comment that you have working groups assessing walkability and bikeability currently. I don't know if you'd like to share a little bit more about how that got started and what you're hoping to accomplish with that.
Yeah, feel free, our friends from Naperville, chime in.
Hey, sorry, I missed the question.
Ben, we're wondering if you'd like to buy us all dinner later this evening.
Love to. Come on over to Naperville.
You got it, man. Talk about your efforts to resurrect, if you will, the program regarding transit-oriented development, complete streets, et cetera, by utilizing community committees.
Yeah, so in Naperville, we have a really interesting group called the Naperville Environment and Sustainability Task Force,
Yes.
known as NEST. Concerned citizens and professionals who are very wonderful and giving in their time. And they put together a big report called the Sustainable Naperville 2036 report last year. And we held a joint workshop with NEST and our city council back in August. And with that, we were able to kind of broaden the discussion around sustainability here and kind of a healthier and more resilient community for the long term. And a couple of the recommendations NEST made were to prioritize walkability and bikeability. And so we've convened a couple of different working groups focused on those two subjects. We're working with NEST and TAB, which is our Transportation Advisory Board, on the bikeability aspect to try and assess, kind of figure out a baseline of where we are we missing connections, how, what are some areas of interest or attractions that people want to get to without having to drive. And then we also have a separate group, which is members of our transportation department, planning department, myself, NEST, and then also North Central College. And with this, we're taking a GIS focused approach to mapping walkability, the ability for people to get around from their homes to schools, shopping centers, grocery stores, pharmacies, hospitals, etc. And so really, I feel like the work has been done before. There was a bicycle and pedestrian advisory committee or commission back maybe a decade or so ago that did a lot of work to help improve connections and mixed use paths and things like that. So I feel like we're kind of reinvigorating that and trying to figure out where we are and how to engage the community in reducing vehicle miles traveled and getting out, being happy and healthy, improving mental health in Naperville.
Ben, I want to echo that point that there seems to be this resurrection of what was done before. I've discovered that in a lot of communities, and Geneva is just the same. We had a bike pedestrian plan years ago, and we're bringing it back to the fore because of gaining interest. So a lot of good work to be done, a lot of good work now to be applied.
Absolutely. And I will also mention as a follow-up that we also, our TED department, that's short for Transportation Engineering and Development, that's where all of our inspectors and our planners and building officials are housed. They apply a complete streets policy to all eligible major road resurfacing or redevelopment.
Now, is that an automatic application of the complete streets, or does that require ultimately council on the off chance residents say, hey, wait a minute, I don't want a bike lane on my street?
Yeah, some of that does come to council.
Yeah.
That's not really my lane, but yeah, it's,
No pun
something
intended.
that, yeah, my lane really. No, but TED it's a really
right.
They've got a lot of smart people, engineers, planners that do look at complete streets as a way of looking at development.
Great, thank you, Ben.
Absolutely.
Any other comments or questions? Folks, we have a lot of time, which is wonderful.
Here's another
Maggie
question.
Yeah, Maggie and Audrey have some other questions for discussion, but
Good.
let me clear out the chat a little bit, and then we can save that for the last couple of minutes for some more engagement and get some ideas you have. And this is to Jen and Michelle, just about the leadership for Move with the Mayor. So if you could address, who is eligible. We're really happy we have 7 mayors or on the call. And I hope that they all want to participate if they're not already. But what about leadership coming from other parts of municipal government? If you can address that question that came from Anita in Winnetka.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy to support any city leadership that is in the role of a village manager. If that is equivalent to the mayor within your community, we're happy to support as well. We know in the community of Wooddale, Illinois, that the mayor and the city council participate and Move with the Mayor more broadly. So we support those efforts as well. So if the mayor isn't able to participate in one of the events, one of the city council members is, and so that just counts as part of their overall effort. So just touch base with us and we can connect you with additional resources and graphics and help support you in your goals.
Great.
And then Maggie, similarly, could you talk a little bit more about Bike Month and what's involved in participating for that if municipalities want to join that as well?
Yeah, so Bike Month is every May, and it's also a national event, but locally, so our organization, it can be in May or June, depending on the year, but we have a 2-week bike commuter challenge or bike challenge. So it's kind of similar to Move with the Mayors with tracking your steps or your activity. So you track your bike rides, and there's like a competition between businesses, between individuals, and it tracks miles. It also looks at greenhouse gas emissions that you're saving because of your bike trips. And there are prizes every day, and then awards are given to some of the top groups that had the most participation or had the most miles biked during the 2-week period. So it's just a fun competition, and it's free to participate. So very similar idea, and it can be a fun way to just introduce it to your community and get more people involved. And I feel like these competitions are a good way to people like competitions often, and I love the idea of cities competing against each other too. So and states. So we've got to beat Ohio. But
Exactly.
yeah.
I think that, I want to echo that, Maggie, because there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that we're going to lose to Ohio. So I want to call on my mayor, and I will make a separate announcement or correspondence with all the mayors throughout Northeastern Illinois and elsewhere. And there's 1,300 of us in Illinois. There's no way in heck we're going to lose to a flyover state like Ohio.
Exactly. And one other note about Bike Month, a handful of communities have officially have adopted a resolution to officially declare May as Bike Month in their community. And it's not only about organizing events or competing, but it's just offering resources. And there's a great quiz out there called the Illinois Bike Safety Quiz. So you can take that quiz and learn kind of the rules of the road and how to share the road. And there's different things that you can do to participate.
Very good. Anything else, Edith or Cheryl?
No, we can go back, see if Audrey and Maggie have a few more. We've been doing these listening sessions with the COGS, and so these are some of the same questions we were trying to get from the communities directly. So great to have some feedback from our Environment Committee members.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're also looking for, are there any recent victories or accomplishments or things that you've been able to build in your communities related to walking, biking, whether it's
Can I talk? In Glendale Heights, we had Summerfest, and there were a lot of people. They were coming. It was very successful. We had very good security plan, and we implemented. So thanks God, everything went very good, nicely, and people loved that. A lot of people came. And they came with confidence when they saw all our police, other, security people, a lot of stuff, for security. We spent over $50,000 extra on security on this event, for 5 days. And people like that. And I walked a lot during these 5 days, I walked a lot, about 10 miles, I can say, every day. So walking is good for health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor Burns, I will just mention that Mayor Pineda, back in, I think, 2020 in that city challenge, encouraged and invited all of the DuPage County mayors to challenge them. So it's very exciting to see how everybody has come together. And I am 100% for, I'm in Southern Illinois, down in Carbondale, home of SIU. And I am ready to take that step of making sure that we beat the Ohio mayors. So definitely my contact information is in the chat if anyone needs.
Good. I mean, the bottom line, Michelle, is that, Ohio is a 4-letter word. So what the hell? It's like, that'll be fun.
And Michelle, while we have you, there's a quick question from Leslie Melende about passing a resolution. And I didn't think that was required for Move with the Mayor, but it sounded like that was for Bike Month. So let's talk about that resolution. That might be a nice thing to do, but I don't know if it's necessary.
Then Mayor Ellsbury has a good question as well.
Great.
So specifically for the Move with the Mayor program, there's no requirement that a resolution is passed, or several of our mayors though, and when you participate in the roadmap, it's a lot of information, a lot of resources on policy, resolutions, press releases, a lot of information that can just be provided. So it's not necessarily a requirement, but part of the roadmap in that 30-page document that we talked about does provide information and resources for the mayors to use. And so we do have several mayors that have passed proclamations or resolutions, and we work with them and provide that sample language. So when we talk about being able to provide the toolkit and the resources, that includes all of the press releases, proclamations, any resources that we provide to you. They come as like a template for you to just insert the information. So those resources do kind of come pre-made for you. And so we absolutely do have several that have adopted or passed resolutions, and we work with them to do that, but it is not a requirement.
Good. And the nice thing about a resolution formally is that it sends a very powerful message to the community that they're going to hold you responsible now for carrying out the themes of that resolution too. So once you share your goal, other people are going to hold you to it. That's why I'd like to nominate Batavia and St. Charles for the Move with the Mayor program.
And we can move to some of the other questions.
Yes,
we love to hear about recent victories and accomplishments like we just heard in Naperville. But we also want to hear about barriers so we understand how we can help you, how all three of our organizations can develop programs to help you get more bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure built. So we have some of these events we talked about that provide some information and overviews. Tell us what some of the barriers you are running into, and we can try to do research and help you overcome them.
Anyone?
I can just jump in. I would say one of the things we receive feedback on a lot is that just the assumption that nobody's really traveling any way other than by their car, that it's just living in the suburbs, you want to only get around with your car and nobody's using their bikes or walking, but that's certainly not the case. I mean, as someone who takes the metro every day, I see at least 15 folks getting off at almost every stop to go to work, and a lot of people have their bikes with them, especially on warm weather days. So just sort of spreading the awareness and normalizing alternative modes of transportation to cars in the suburbs is, I think, a big barrier for a lot of people.
And some of our zoning laws, Tessa, let's face it, we require a certain amount of parking coefficients. We're just feeding the beast in some respect.
Yeah, I mean, if you need assistance with zoning on how to like reduce what Mayor Burns is mentioning about having high parking requirements, which sort of creates a circular problem.
Exactly.
I don't know if you have ever tried to do surveys of your residents about interests in biking and walking. Certainly that often happens during comprehensive planning.
Right.
And then you can play that back to your leadership that, hey, we saw, 50% of our residents really want better biking and walking. So the need is there. But that's a valid point, certainly.
Yeah.
Definitely younger people. We've heard in some of our conversations with councils of governments that youth are the ones speaking up more. The new generation has been asking more for it. I don't know if are folks hearing that?
I've got a particular unique, maybe it's not unique, but for what it's worth, there is not one fully integrated intersection in the city of Geneva that is owned by the city of Geneva. It's either a state highway or a county highway. And we have no regulatory authority on whether we can improve, make it more complete, touch it in any way. Yet our greatest risk is traversing those roadways. So while our side streets that are owned by the city, we can do, in essence, what we like, we can't touch the county roads or the state roads without, as all of you know, you're going through all sorts of hoops. And that becomes a real challenge. How do you get from the north to the south, to the east to the west? Because you have to cross a state road or a county road.
Yeah, thanks for that point, Mayor Burns. Actually, some of advocates have surfaced that problem, and we are interested in talking with state legislators about that. Potentially giving communities design control over the roads in their jurisdiction. Not that they would own them necessarily or take ownership, but they would have design control because of that very issue. So that's an actual active conversation right now of like, how do we make it so that you have more control and can make it more walkable and bikeable?
And forgive me, I will be quiet now, but this is a wonky statement I'm about to make, but the MUTCD all but abolishes any sort of creativity.
The Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices.
Exactly.
And there are other that exists, but there are also the National Association of City Transportation Officials, NACTO, has some very modern design guidelines. And that's another topic for conversation, that your communities could adopt the NACTO design guidelines, which prioritize biking and walking much more. The state of Illinois has not adopted that, but that's also an active conversation of how do we get these outdated regulations
Right.
out of the way.
Yeah. And
So we have-
one note about the MUTCD, there will be an update in 2023. So we're trying to track that to see what new tools will be acceptable. So there will hopefully be some improvements. But yes, I think the point about adopting other guidelines.
Well, count me in to provide whatever help you need.
Yeah, great.
So,
We just dropped a link to the NACDO design guidelines in the chat if anyone wants to browse that, if you're not aware of them.
Carolyn Campbell, floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. I'm not even sure if I'm showing up on video here. I'm new to this. I'm a county board member with the McHenry County and was invited to participate in this committee a couple months ago when I met Edith. And one of the challenges I think that we have here in the county, and looking at this as more of a regional perspective and not from municipalities per se,
right,
is how each individual community develops. So one of the proposals was oppose the widening of roads in your communities. That gets very challenging. We have a road, some of you may be familiar with Randall Road, which has been expanded at Algonquin and Randall to about 8 or 9 lanes. And when we moved out here, it was a 2-lane highway with a stop sign. And part of the problem is, now we're cutting into wetlands because we do have kind of a wetlands area out here. And so the problem, I think, is, and as communities want to develop to bring in economic dollars through economic development, that puts pressures on the roads. And how do you not accommodate that, right? Because now we're going to have to expand the north part of Randall Road from, I think it's about Acorn up to Ackman to accommodate the 8 lanes that are at that intersection. So I don't, part of it is how do we coordinate the development regionally to quit putting so much pressure on these roads? And I'll just leave it at that because I don't have an answer. But anyway, I think it's challenging.
It's a great point. We know, for example, in the Tri-Cities, Randall Road, the same road, is ultimately designed for 6 lanes. It's currently 4.
Which one? I'm sorry.
That famous Randall Road that you're on as well. We are, of course, down south.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I mean, for the first time ever in my life, I was in a lane turning left from Algonquin going north onto Randall, and it was 3 lanes turning left.
Yeah.
So it is really expanded, and yeah, it is. So anyway, I think that's a challenge regionally. Thank you.
Carolyn, thanks for that comment. I think, a couple of things. One is just to notice, just like you did, when you expand roads, you make the pedestrian and bicycle environment, very increasingly hostile. And so you create this, if people have to cross 8 lanes walking, it's terrifying. And so people need to understand the trade-offs they're making when they're considering expanding roads. Also the maintenance factor, we could direct you to some information about pavement management. It costs like $25,000 a year for every lane mile of pavement. It's an incredible burden on municipalities' budgets. And so the extent to which communities can do more infill development and develop where there already is infrastructure is really the long-term solution. And that is, that is the direction that you see in the regional comprehensive plan, that CMAP's comprehensive plan. But it is more of a battle where you are out at the perimeter of the region. But we'd be happy to have further conversations with you about it. It's something that our region is really struggling with because every time you expand the roads, you are basically locking yourself into more vehicle miles traveled emissions, heat island effect, damaging the environment, and people are not really taking into account all the trade-offs they're making, all the negative impacts of doing that.
Well, there also was, just to add to that, because it's a very hostile environment in terms of getting onto Randall Road at this point. And there was an article out this morning from Vox about pedestrian fatalities going up throughout the country because of just this type of environment that we're creating. So the work that you guys are doing is very important. So thank you for all you do.
Carolyn, thanks for mentioning the safety aspect. Yes, we are in an absolute safety crisis. Pedestrian and bicycle fatalities have gone up in just the past 1 year, 22%. It's absolutely the worst we've seen in decades. And over the past 5 years, it's 30–40% increase in bicycle and pedestrian fatalities. And so we need to think about our entire system holistically and the amount of risk we're putting people in, especially young people that may not want to get licenses and may not want to drive. We need to give them options. But traffic safety is a very big part of this. And in our state, over 1,000 people a year die on the roads. It's 1,300 now. It's horrifying. So we need to really be thinking about that and raising that issue. Thank you.
Anyone else on anything else?
The last question here is just, what do you need from us? You've raised some issues, like what can we do to help you?
I'll just underscore here, as Audrey's putting that invitation out there, just the fact that MPC and ATA and Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus are working together. We're very interested in this part of the Climate Action Plan implementation. So this question about what do you need is helping us strategize for future work. We are seeking funding together. So, please give us suggestions here and what could be helpful.
If I could say just one thing on this, I think that maybe as we're just getting reinvigorated in this work here in Naperville, but one of the things that's been pointed out, even on this call, is that so many of our roadways are managed by different entities. And we've got so many paths and forest preserve districts and park districts and things like that. I think maybe one of the things it would be helpful from ATA, MPC, MMC, and our communities is to set up some sort of roundtable, maybe in the near future, where we get our elected officials and or our city managers together and our planners to sit down and figure out where are we missing connections and where can we cooperate on future planning that's going to cross different boundaries and different governance.
Good point.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Natalie, you have a question in the chat. Do you want to unmute yourself and just ask that? Sound a little bit on what you're looking for. The question is, what about overpasses? But let's, what do you talk a little bit more about what you mean by that, Natalie? Okay. Oh, mute, walkways over, so pedestrian overpasses.
Yeah.
Walkways over roads.
Right.
So maybe pedestrian bridges when there are huge highways. Yeah, that can be part of the solution. Those are pretty significant projects. But that's, that can be part of the solution when you have a gap, that's the only way to fix it. I will plug, the comment from Naperville about the need to coordinate. Sometimes that can be really helpful if you engage the counties. So I know Naperville is not in Cook County, but Cook County is doing a countywide transit plan right now and a countywide bicycle and pedestrian plan. So they cover 100, about half the municipalities in the region. And other counties can be helpful in terms of looking countywide at where connections need to be. So that's one way to approach it. But definitely a roundtable discussing how to connect across different governance bodies is a great idea.
Right. Well, folks, I'm going to present all of you with a gift, an early gift, and that is we're going to adjourn approximately 6 minutes early. So we appreciate very much all the questions. If there's additional questions that have been posed but not yet responded to, we will make certain that those who can best respond to those do so, and we'll share them with you. This recording, of course, will be available on the website. And mark your calendars for August the 16th when our next topic and our next Zoom meeting will be all about natural solutions tool and watershed council projects. Very exciting. So again, enjoy your Tuesday. Thank you again for your participation today and your continued passion and interest. Be safe, be cool, and we will see you soon.